Welcome back to Sunshine Forest. I'm BP, and it's time to get to work. Good morning from April. Just got the big field mowed. Gonna go ahead and get the small field knocked out while we go through our updates for today. As you guys remember from last episode, we are out of hay on the farm or on the ranch. So the animals have not been shifted. They have not been fed because we need this grass to get them fed this morning. So the grass we're cutting now will actually go to silage. Our small field over here we bring over to the sausage wrapper once we bale it up with our round baler and stick it in there. And then the big field we're going to have to ted and then bale and get back to the animals. Now we are doing the mowing with the JCB, which is our normal mode of operation. JCB just pulls the old batwing mower a bit better than the Fiat. But the update on the Fiat is we had some breakage between episodes. Not sure what's going on with it yet. Wouldn't start this morning, so it is up at the dealership, and they are taking a look at it. But for the time being, we are down to one tractor on the ranch, which I think really won't be much of a challenge. We don't frequently need two tractors. Planting season, definitely helpful to have a second tractor. Since we have the two seeders, we can get in there and get more done. But generally speaking, the JCB is here because it has the power, and the Fiat was here because it's easy to get in and out of the barns. So might struggle a little bit getting the JCB in and out of our tight ranch farmyard, but hopefully it's a temporary problem, and hopefully we have an update from the guys at the dealership sometime today, hopefully this afternoon, and we can sort of figure out what's going on there. So with that in mind, let's get this last little bit. That is going to be not very neat and not great for picking up with the baler, but we'll get it done either way. Then we've got this one little strip of shame here in the middle. All right, excellent. All done. I think before we even take the mower back, let's get the round baling done. I mean, we're right here with the tractor. No point in driving across the yard just to come back in a few minutes. So get these baled up, and we will leave these on the field. Probably should get them into the wrapper relatively quick. I know our TMR mixer is generally full. Let's take a quick look at our TMR mixer here. Fermenter pig silo. Silage, yeah, we still have 68,000 liters of silage. And in order to make TMR, we need silage, hay, and straw. Straw, we have 116,000. So it is hay that is the limiting factor. I guess, man, that's a tough decision. Should we just do this all as hay? Maybe we should. Huh. Hadn't really thought that one through yet. So yeah, I think we have tedding to do. I think we ted both fields. And the hay from this small field we just mowed will go into the TMR mixer and allow us to produce more TMR, while the hay from the big field will be put into the barn to finish its drying and be used to feed the animals as needed. So yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the best plan we've got. Where is our tedder? We are pulling back onto the farm. I gotta tell you guys, I swear we owned a tedder. And there's even a spot under the shed for it. And I know I lost a couple of things with the most recent patch. So I may have to go back and check some previous episodes, but we had a tedder at one point. Maybe I sold it, maybe I didn't. But we went and we got a new tedder up at the store. I did refund the cash because it sure seems like something that we should have owned. Got the new prototype Colossus with the swath dropping as well. So excited to see how this goes. And I think we even will have to see, I think we have a course. I loaded the course that I thought was from the previous one. So I'm pretty sure this is the one we had. So let's see what happens here. Alrighty. We are tedding and windrowing. And that's great. So now maybe we get rid of our windrower. That's an option. Let's see. Okay, well, we're going to let this guy work and pay one of the locals to get the tedding done since we have a lot to get done today. We'll run down. We can go through the shift and check the food and maybe even do a BGA run. I don't think that big tedder is going to take very long to get that field done, so probably just get the shift done and call it quits. So head on over to the birthing barn. Let's see what we've got here this morning. Now what we have here is a dropped herdsman stick. And then now we're going to fight the door. Okay, so let's see. In the barn, looking for animals over 2 months old. Those all get transferred out. Wow, quite a few. That is great news. Recovering, no suitable animal. All the bulls come out with us when they're born. We're not waiting on those guys. They do not need to be fed TMR at this age. So they come out as soon as they are ready, as soon as they're born. No suitable male. No suitable male. Recovering. No suitable male. All right. Another bull. Some limousines. Grab these ones that are ready to go back into. And then here we have one at 60% with 3 babies. Yeah, I don't know why that one's here. Must have grabbed the wrong one on a previous trip. That's quite all right. We can move them back. Man, getting lots and lots. Wow, look at this, guys. This is crazy how many animals we have to move today. We talk about the ebb and the flow of the, the birthing on the farm and the ranch and sort of, when we buy animals, how long it takes them to get pregnant. And we end up with these gluts of animals. We took 18 animals out of this barn last month, and we are going to take 31 this month. That is craziness. So great news all around. Just throwing around 31 animals here. That's not very nice. Let's see if we can hold on to this a little bit better. All right, let's head over to the calf huts. Let's get that done. I still see a little bit of food in here, which is good news. I got 3 animals ready to go to Teen Town. Great news. As they progress through, it's so helpful. Put 3 in here. And still need to do move selected. There we are. Perfect. And we'll have to come around and get these guys fed and watered once we have the hay in order. 2 animals ready to come out here. We'll put 2 more in. Have all of the brown Swiss calves moved. That is good all around. I think at the end here, as we're getting close to reaching our financial goals, man, you can see that one needs to be emptied of manure. As we get close to our financial goals, I'm wondering if we are going to end up selling some cattle. I suspect that we have, I know we have more than 300 animals. So it's really just a matter of, which ones do we sell? Man, any more all bulls? A couple of water buffalo. That should take it back up to 5. Yes, it did. Herdsman stick is very slippery today. Having a heck of a time holding on to it. Maybe I need a pair of gloves or something. Let's see. No animals ready to move up there. We do have one more water buffalo to put in. It'd be great if one of these pens either had an opening or a teenage animal so we could get them moved. Perfect. This will take care of it. Water buffalo, move selected. Okay, that is going well. Now, the only thing we didn't check was if any of our animals are infertile, but we will have to look at that. Then they go into the nursing home over here to get sold. Otherwise, these animals go over to Teen Town. All right, teenage animals. Let's see what we got. No bulls, please and thank you. Okay, no bulls. Limousine. We have a couple of teenage water buffalo. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Done. How many are we going to take out of here? That is the question. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Just 3? That's very interesting. So that tells you, you know, how much it varies pen to pen and animal to animal in regards to, you know, when we're having babies and when we're not. Definitely keeps it interesting. It means that with the 31 animals we pulled out of the birthing barn today, we are going to be having a pretty significant increase in herd size in the 10 to 14 month range when those animals age up and are put into the breeding pen. So we don't really see that on the ranch until they reach that age, but it is a good start to a long process. A couple of bulls here, another bull here, a couple of bulls here, another bull here. So we had 10 of our 31 calves were bulls, or 10 of our 31 animals we moved out of the birthing barn were bulls. So bulls are definitely a good moneymaker. If we sold each of those for $2,500, we'd make 25 grand once they've been fed. So just the cost of fuel to do it. So I think, yeah, we're at the stage now where we select all moves. We're putting 17 animals in. Now, one of those is pregnant. Remember that. One of those was pregnant to start with. And then these are, we still have these teen animals that must be being bought by the herdsmen. So we're looking for any animal with a 90% pregnancy rate. I thought we had a bunch of 80s yesterday, so I anticipate a notable amount of animals coming this way. I do wish there was a way to sort them by their pregnancy, how pregnant they are. Excuse me, so we could just have them all in a row and make it nice and easy. But as we've discussed numerous times and gotten the same feedback from a lot of people, the realistic animal or realistic livestock mod offers some great game enrichment. The menu navigation is still being worked on, and Arrow's done a great job of, as he updates, sort of backtracking into the menus and making the processes more streamlined. I don't know if he's getting that feedback directly and taking care of it or what, but the menus do get better. We're just at the stage where with the latest update that I've downloaded, these were all new features, and therefore, you know, we're sort of just getting through the growing pains of getting into the new features of realistic livestock. So, getting close. Let's see. Bunch of 80s. Here's a couple of 90s. Another 90. Another 90. Another 80. A couple more 90s. Man, these limousines seem to be our prolific breeders. They seem to be more. We have more of those than any other type of animal on the farm. They seem, I don't know if we just bought more of them or what, but they seem to be, they breed well, they breed quickly, and they produce a good number. I think a lot of our limousines have multiple offspring when the time comes. So, all right, let's get down into the water buffalo. Thought we had a couple in here, maybe 2. Yep, here 1, 2 from last month. And a bunch of 80s. Man, we are going to have a lot of offspring. I'm glad we are in good shape. So then we're going to hit move selected. 26 animals going back to the barn. So again, on that ebb and flow of animals, we took 31 animals out. Of those, we know 10 were bulls, so there's only 21 potential calves and cows And we're putting 26 pregnant cows back in. We are definitely having some major increase in our herd size. So exciting stuff. All right, the shift is done. Let's put the herdsman stick down. Let's go back and check on the JCB. We're down to one tractor. Be nice to be running the JCB on the field and then having our Fiat, but they still haven't called me about parts on that yet. All right, so my guess is we're sitting up here at the top of the field waiting to do headlands. Makes sense. That is the typical spot the workers get caught on. So let's go ahead and let's pop that up and see where he's supposed to be going. And get down. And I think if we just bump it right there, away we go, rocking and rolling. Just about done here. We're going to have so much hay. I'm excited. This is great news for the ranch all around. I said we still have to feed the animals. I'm wondering, should we grab the... I don't think the Massey has a trailer hitch. You know what does have a trailer hitch is the truck, which is parked right here. So let me jump out here without getting run over by the tedder. Whew, barely escaped. And we'll grab the truck. And I'm thinking we'll use the truck to do water. So, oh, do we have to do water? Guys, remember, we put in the watering system last month. Look at that. Let's check and see how we did. All right, this barn does not require water. The bullpen does not require water. Teen Town doesn't require water. All right, this one does. Water has 58,000. The calf igloo has 31. This one has 0 water. Okay, so the watering system is not filling up the calf igloos, which it said it would for animals. So I almost wonder if the calf igloos are a different, like, pen type or something, or they're not recognized. So let's start by making sure that our calves have water. That's pretty critical. Want to make sure they are well taken care of. All right, get them topped off. They don't hold a whole lot, so I'm wondering if we can make it work with what we have in here. This is always the tough one to get. We got to swing out. Let's see. Great, got it. Cut back out to this one. Okay. And this guy. Perfect. Calves have water. That is good news. Don't let the calves be in that water. Just got notification that the guy finished. Can we get water out of this? Such a great question. Let's see. Don't think we can. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Yeah, now it's just filling up the greenhouse. Did we have that set to distributing? Did I maybe not turn it on? Would that be part of the problem? No, it seems certainly seems to be on. It has 208,000 liters of water to distribute, so maybe we'll change the productivity up to 300% and just see if that makes a difference. With 208,000 liters of water, it really shouldn't be making a difference. I do want to, before we pull the trailer up over here, how much water do these guys have? 58,000 out of 60. They could be getting water. They might not be, though, so should be at least be filling up the greenhouses if it has that much water in it. So let's check our greenhouse production and see where that is. 79,212. Yeah, so that's certainly, and there's the one we drove by and a little bit fell out of the trailer and topped it off. So yeah, so it is filling the greenhouses, which was our #1 water user. A little disappointing that we didn't get the calf igloos and the animal pens to top off from the water distribution center, but probably more realistic that we'd plumb the greenhouses and leave the calf igloos. Those could be a little harder to do as they're outside and the animals get engaged with them and everything else, so not the end of the world. Let's run out here, grab the tedder. I think we'll ted the small field manually, and then I think we'll probably set the JCB off on a worker to bale and see how that goes. I'm remembering from some experience recently, it might have been over on 555 on Judith Plains, that the swathing on this Colossus makes it really, there's a ton of grass, and that might be a little bit hard on the baler. So we'll set the JCB loose with the baler and a worker and see how all of that plays out, and see if that is something that we may need to come back and work over manually in the end, but we will see. So this should be quick and easy. I think if we just generally stay on the middle track, we should be pretty good as far as getting all of this dragged over and tedded. Yeah, we are all but done with the outside. Wow, that is so fast with the Colossus. Okay. And then one pass down the middle, perhaps. I think we can get away with one. Just drag all of this into one line, even getting a little bit on the outside, too. Yeah, there's a couple little pieces from the corner there. I'm not overly worried about that. Okay, that's it. That is one headland and one strip down the middle, and that field is done. Man, that thing makes short work of it. Excited to have all this hay on the field. May do all square bales. We'll have to see how that works out, because we could do the small field on square bales and just toss them into the TMR mixer. Wouldn't be a big deal. So, yep, and here's the spot for the tedder. This is where I remember I thought it was maybe the mower was in this spot and the tedder was next to it. We had things, like to leave things in the order we use them, so we just zip over and grab the next piece of equipment. So it makes sense that we had a tedder at some point. So I'm sure someone will leave me a comment about the tedder, whether we had one, we didn't have one, but I know I lost some things with the most recent updates, so we will see. I'm also going to check and make sure we're on 240 liter bales. We are. We don't need any extra bales because we're doing small bales here at all. Let's see the baler get unfolded here. Ooh. Okay, no, I think we're okay. That's because the outside, the headland passes on the end, pulled this strip out. Let's just hang out and see. Let's make sure that we are getting what we need out of this, but I think this is not a problem. We'll just have to see what the next turn brings. Alright, moment of truth. Yep, I think we're good. Think we are good. Alright, and 11 miles an hour may be the perfect speed, because those are huge, huge windrows of hay. So, cool. Well, let's grab the Massey Ferguson, the workhorse on the ranch. This thing is such a beast. And let's go grab some bales manually, and let's get these animals fed. I'm not sure who needs to be fed this morning, as in who's run out. Obviously, Teen Town has a straw bale and a hay bale in their feeder, so they're okay. The calves will take a bale, maybe a bale and a little bit more of a second. They usually don't even take a full bale, but you don't want them to be without food either. So come on out here. Don't mind us driving through the hay. Let's grab this guy. If you didn't catch the beginning of the Yukon Own the Map series, which premiered yesterday based on the recording day of this episode, maybe not the release day, I was talking about I got a mount, a desk mount for my farm stick, because I had it mounted on my desk where it was just sort of sitting there, which for a lot of tasks really wasn't much of a problem. But when you're doing a lot of joystick work, it's nice to have it mounted, and having it screwed down to the base has proven to be really, really nice for getting this type of stuff down. So if you have a farm stick or another similar product that you're using with Farm Sim, I do highly recommend getting it secured down. Could use double-sided tape, could use a mount like I have, There are a number of different options, but I got to do a little tweaking on mine. It's a little low, but in general, I am very, very pleased with having it mounted. Makes things so much easier to do. So here we are. Yeah, that filled up. It's taken off the top bale, which is sort of funny, because we're still registering 8,000 on this one. Let's see, we can watch the fill plane. Yep, that one's filled up now. There are no animals in these 3 back igloos. This one doesn't even have 5. I think this one has 4, right? All right, that one's topped off. That one we already got. Fresh hay right off the field. Farm to table. It's more farm to igloo, but, you know, you get the idea. These animals are getting well taken care of. Getting a bunch of fresh food. And bring it down a little bit. There we go. Alright, so we should be good. I know these guys are always looking for food, so let's give them these 2 bales. Yep, there goes one. May have to nudge the other one. Let's give it a nudge. There it is. Just get close to it and it went away. Let's check the bullpen. Calf igloo. Let's see. So calf igloo, they already drank some water down. That is crazy. But their food is all topped off. Okay, so the breeding barn, where we are now, they have 26,000 liters of hay. That is not a lot. They're going to need a lot more than that. Get to the bullpen. TMR over here, they're at 102,000. They're in great shape. The bullpen has 56,000 liters of hay, so we need to put a couple more bales into the breeding barn right now for sure. And then we can figure out collecting the rest and getting all that done. But I want to make sure we don't run out of food in those barns. So that's going to be probably the remainder of the episode, getting the rest of this stuff done. The baler is doing a great job. We got to run over there and help the worker turn the corner. We have a hard time, you know, it's that right turn. I think we hired a NASCAR driver. And, you know, we talked about it, and we talked about the ups and downs, and they said they could probably handle it, but when it came to turning right going around the outside, they just didn't feel comfortable with it. They said they were more of a left-hand turn kind of guy. So I assured him it wasn't going to be a problem. I could jump out here and help him figure out how to turn that wheel to the right. So we'll jump over there and give them a hand and teach them how it's done. So let's get this situated. And then we'll jump out of here, run over them, and just show them how easy it is to turn the wheel to the right here. Just not a big deal at all. We can all learn new things, new skills. I might even, just because this little transition here looks awfully thick. Man, oh man, there is so much hay there. That is such great news. Alright, so we've used the pickup truck, we've used the JCB, we've used the Massey. Maybe we should do our bale collecting with the TLX and the flat deck. Just get all of our other vehicles used today. Alright, we figured out how to turn the wheel to the right. It was touch and go, pretty scary, but we did get it figured out. Look at that big old mound of hay. Love it. Love how much hay we're getting for the animals here on the ranch. Let's go dump this in the breeding barn since they are running low, and then we'll pick up the TLX, assuming it's not hooked to anything that's critical. I assume it isn't. We can always reconnect, but you know, if we have to, we can pick up the pickup truck and use the old bale trailer that we got early on in the series. Haven't been using that one as much because it just doesn't hold as much, but certainly nothing wrong with it. There we go. Made it through without dumping any bales. Didn't check on the nursing home pen to see if they needed hay, but they generally do really well because there aren't very many animals in there, so they get a lot of use out of it. Man, we might need to muck some stalls here, some igloos. Those things look bad. Maybe we should muck those real quick before we head on out. Alrighty. Let's go over here and swap our bale spikes for a bucket. And then we will do a quick mucking. It won't be too bad because we'd only have 5 pens, so it's not a big deal. I almost wonder we could try putting it into the trailer to take to the BGA. Because sometimes filling that trailer we need the ramp, so we'll have to give that a test. Alright, let's see if about maybe getting in first person here makes this a bit easier. Excuse me, guys. Just gonna get you mucked out. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, didn't think we were gonna get full on the first one, but we're at 89% of the way full after the first pen. Definitely time to get these things mucked. A lot of little baby cow poop. Alright. Drive this over to the trailer. Let's see. Ooh, we might even be on a low side of the trailer. This could be a real challenge. Let's see what we get here. Just gonna sort of get pushed up to the tires here. Alright, and does not like it. It rolls back downhill on me. What do we think? We think that one in? Let's see. Oh, it went in. Nice. That is good news. Alright, back to the first, or the second pen that we left partially cleaned. This little project like this, we could get a bigger bucket, we could get a bigger tractor, but a couple of trips here and there, really not a big deal. And having huge equipment on the ranch is not going to make us that much more efficient. I suspect we end up just with more issues getting around. Our yard's pretty tight, not a lot of space to work, so nice size equipment for what we have. If you're not running this Massey Ferguson 711 from Black Sheep Modding, don't miss it. It is a stellar piece of equipment. Has been an absolute workhorse on this series, used it in a bunch of different playthroughs. A very, very cool and very well done, like all Black Sheep modding stuff. Very cool mod. Alright, let's keep it up against the side of the trailer. Feel like we're pushing it maybe. If I don't give it gas, we fall back. Couple more to empty, then it sounds like the baler's done over on the big field. May need to go back over there and just get some of the corners and some of the bigger spots. Maybe the baler didn't pick all of it up, but should be pretty close to done. And then we will go get the bales off. We'll go bale the small grass field as well. Yeah, these cows are definitely... Wow, this one filled it up. That is surprising to me. Would not have guessed that. Maybe the different kinds of cows with realistic livestock produce different levels of manure. Could be. I don't know. Could also be just there were more cows in there longer term, or maybe that was when we didn't get fully cleaned out last time. Always a possibility, but been getting 1,700 liters fairly consistently here the last 2 pens. And that one, we got 2,000, and we're not done yet, so that is a surprise. Okay, get a couple more of these done. Head over and grab the baler, wrap that process up. And then I think we got to make sure we get food into the cow barns. Critical part of the ranch, keeping the animals fed. This thing cannot, yeah, 114 liters. So it could not have that much more manure in it. bizarre that one had so much more than the other one. Like 20% more almost. Little cows are helping scoop up the manure and put it in the bin. Yeah, see, this one only had 14. Maybe we did miss it when we cleaned it last time. Maybe we just didn't get all of it out. Maybe that was the explanation. It would be very cool, though, if Realistic Livestock left it so that animals produce different levels of manure. Yeah, like this pen here, getting this one cleaned out with a bigger tractor, like a bigger front loader, would definitely be a pain. Alright, that's going to require another empty. I thought maybe we would get low enough on that one that we wouldn't feel the need to come back and empty it, but I can still see manure, and we want our animals to have nice, clean pens. So not a bad episode. Got some good stuff done. Just waiting to hear back from the dealership about the Fiat. Just figure out what's going on with that. Don't know why it wouldn't start this morning. Wasn't running great last month when we were working it, but didn't think much of it. So hopefully they can figure out what's going on and get it back to us. In the interim, we certainly can get through with what we have. Alright, here we go. 400 liters. Nice and easy. Get this put in, and then we'll go grab our baler. I guess at this point there's no reason not to top off this scoop. We're gonna fill the trailer anyways. Won't make much of a difference, but at least this way we're making the most of the trip. Need the skid steer to stay pushed up here. There we are. Very nice. Right tool for the right job. Always much appreciated. And we'll park this guy back in the shed. Get him back out of the way. We're going to have... Hopefully the shed feels full when we're done. Okay, let's go find our baler. At the far end. Excellent. Seeing the pH is not great. Nitrogen's at 0, so we're definitely going to have to do some manure spreading and consider some lime work. Let's turn this on, and let's grab a couple of little strips here. Not worried about getting absolutely everything. It always looks like a lot on the field, but by the time you go back and get it, it adds up to like 220 liters of excess material. It doesn't miss very much, but since we're sitting here and we're right next to it, may as well grab a couple little bits as we head off the field. Don't see any reason to empty the baler between here and the other field since we're doing all square bales. Oh, it did miss a pretty significant amount on the corners. We might have to go back and do the corners then, because this is notable. This will be a decent amount. I wonder if that's just the baler tracking inside. Yeah, I mean, that completed a bale. So maybe let's hit the rest of the corners and just see what that does for us. This one may not be bad. Take a quick look. Got one little bit right here we can pick up. I think this is worth grabbing. Yeah, I think overall it did pretty well for having those huge rows. Nothing to complain about. Worker did well. Baler did well. Let's grab this, and then we'll head on over and we'll do the small field. I don't think we reset the bale counter, so I don't know that we know how many we got. Yeah, 418. That's not going to be the number we have for this. So let's reset the bale counter here, and then we can figure out how many we get off of this field, which ironically is small enough that we could just count if we really wanted to. So it's not really like it matters that we know how many we got off of this field. Okay, can I be as good as the AI worker? We'll see. Struggle can be real, and this is a big, big swath of hay. Look at that. The bales are just nearly continuously coming out. Wow, that is so much hay. Just trying to keep it where it needs to be to get the whole swath. It is not easy when the swath is that big. Deep focus. Alright, that corner went quite well. Okie dokie. Almost done with the headland, which, as you know, is basically 75 to 80% of this field when it comes to the hay. We did the one little strip up the middle. Oh, got out too wide there. Alright, a couple cleanup spots on the way back, perhaps. Get zoomed in a little bit, see if that helps us. And this strip is not even going to be as thick as the other one, so not as big a deal. The baler should be able to handle this one pretty easily. Alright, let's see about grabbing a couple of spots here. I think we'll grab this one. Just try to get the field cleaned up a little bit. Like I said, it's always way less material than you think you're missing. But we're here, we gotta drive this way anyways, and this little bit over here I think is worth getting. Okay, and last but not least, a little bit that we missed here, and then we'll get a couple of partial bales, or a partial bale on the way out. Yeah, like here we are, so we're at 124 liters. We pick up these two spots that look like a big deal, and we're at 183. So we got 60, basically 60 liters out of there. Not a big deal. Excellent bale count on that field. Let's take a look. 12. Not bad at all. I think our nitrogen and pH is good on both of our grass fields for cutting, maximizing our yields, and we are good to go. Baler goes over here. I think we probably will sell the windrower moving forward. I don't know that we'll... I mean, we could use the windrower to grab straw swaths, but I don't think that's really all that beneficial for us either, so we'll have to just wait and see. Here is the TLX. Let's grab the bales. I think this is going to be about it for this episode. Ooh, interesting. We have some wood products on our flat deck. Huh. Maybe we unload those somewhere and then deal with those later. Those are the leftover bits from the cabin build. Okay, I think they can stay there. I don't think that's a big deal. Not going to hurt anything. Don't think we're making this corner. When we talk about the big equipment on the small ranch yard, this is a perfect example of why bigger equipment is not necessarily in our favor. Need to cut this corner a little better and get... There we are. Oh, let's see. Okay, we did get the bales. Only 12 on this field. We are going to take these over to the TMR mixer and drop them off so we can get going with more TMR, since we didn't need them for silage. And then the other field we'll pick up real quick, and then we will get that all put in the barn for feed. I suspect I will, after the episode, drop some of these off in the breeding barn, and I'll check the bullpen as well, make sure they have enough food. They should be fine. We looked at them earlier, but no point in, you know, not topping them off. So I think we got one or two more bales than the 12 we made over there, because I think we had one in the hopper and one partial. Not a big deal either way. Come on, you got it. Alright, let's check that real quick. And the TMR mixer, we just put in 96,471 liters of hay. TMR is on, and is it working? 927, 951. Yep, there we go. Producing TMR again. All right. We can probably get a head count on the bales on this field after we pick them up, since we didn't reset the bale counter. Should be easy enough to figure out how many are on here. Then you get the outside headland. Then I think we start zipping in and grabbing some of the other ones. I don't think it's as many as it looks, guys. I bet we're 24-ish. Twice as many as the other field, but it feels like this field's much bigger. But again, we did have one full one and one partial in the baler when we unloaded. So that would put us at 26 or 27, if that's the right number, if my estimations are correct. So nice having the TLX to pick these up. Remember early on when we had to do everything with the Massey Ferguson, it was fun, but it was definitely tedious. Alright, so we got 4 on the front, and then 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 26, and 4. 30 bales, so actually it's a lot more than it looked like. Get the straps on. There we go. Plus the other 2, so yeah, I mean, we were 31, 32, so we were 3 times, almost 3 times as much as the other field, which that feels better as far as how big this field should be compared to that one. So, well, guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Let's see, anything else? Oh, I did hear back on a voicemail from the dealership. There are some parts they need to source for the Fiat. They're not sure if they're going to be able to find them. Something about engine parts and how old it is and the fact that it's in bad condition to begin with. So as of right now, the Fiat is out of commission. As I said, they're not sure they're going to be able to find the parts. They're calling around to figure it out. If they can't get it fixed, then I guess we'll have to consider scrapping it or seeing if we can sell it to somebody. I don't know why anyone would want to buy it if it won't run. And picking up another tractor, but they're going to call around and see if they can get us some parts. I told them, hey, even if they're used, just to get the tractor back and running, it's sort of our, it's sort of the face of the farm. That tractor has done, it got us to where we are today. So would love to have it back, but they did say that just because of the age and everything else, that it could be very difficult to get that done, to find the parts and get it back on the road. So we will have to see what the shop comes up with. But thank you so much for joining me today. This was a lot of fun. Really happy we got the hay done for the animals. We desperately needed food for the cows on the farm, so glad that's done. Don't forget to drop a like and turn on notifications for more videos. Channel memberships are available if you'd like to support my content further. And channel members do get early access to upcoming videos. That's going to be all for this one, but I'll see you in the next one.